The Chiefs have just come out on the ice for a warm-up period. They're about to try for their 5th consecutive win. They're getting a good round of applause from their own booster club, who have traveled all the way from Charlestown to be here in Peterborough tonight.
Stop doing those diet or workout fads to lose weight. Use the tried and true approach from Rockin' That Ideal Life that helps you find balance while enjoying food in moderation and nourishing your body. Try the Lean 30 program at rockinthatIdealLife.com and let today be your last first day of your weight loss journey.
When buying or selling your home, you need to feel protected. Realtor Mike Burgoyne not only looks out for your interests, but as a St. Louis area police officer will make sure you feel safe and well-informed with every decision. Email Mike at strikewithmike.com and start the process today. That's Mike at strikewithmike.com.
Welcome to episode 12 of season 13. This is episode number 443 all time of the often imitated, never duplicated. I will never understand the bathrooms in this country. Why is it that the doors on the stalls do not come all the way down to the floor? We're the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast. Let's Go Blues Radio. You know where that's from? What show that's from?
I know I've heard it.
It's a George Costanza on Seinfeld.
Yep.
He has a point. Special thanks to our sponsors, rockinthatIdealLife.com and Realtor Mike Burgoyne, for once again proudly sponsoring the show. Please check them out. Also, please don't forget to check out our t-shirt shop at letsgoblues.com for the very best St. Louis Blues themed t-shirts at a great price. It is Thursday, December 28th. And we're streaming live right now on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter to interact with the show on social media.
Hang on. We are officially on Instagram now as well.
Yes.
So we are streaming live on Instagram. How exciting.
That is exciting. We were going to do it last week and we didn't.
Yeah, I could not figure it out. I figured it out this week. I think it's a 2-man process. So we are now on Instagram. Woohoo! If you're on Instagram, welcome.
See, Facebook owns Instagram. So you would think it would be as easy as streaming to Facebook, which we do.
It is not.
It should be as easy. It is not. So we're streaming right now live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. To interact with the show on social media, our handle on the socials is at LGB Radio. I'm Kurt Price. My co-hosts for the big show tonight are Bill Day and Jeff Ponder. The agenda for tonight includes a discussion about the Blues rattle off 3 straight wins, all of which of the impressive variety. The Blues prospects are putting up hat tricks in the World Juniors, and Khabibulin returns to the net. All that and more on this episode of Let's Go Blues Radio. Gentlemen, this should be a fun show, but first, how was your Christmas?
Bill, go ahead. That's a beautiful coat, Bill, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you. It was not a Christmas present. I got it towards the end of last season. I love it. It's a nice shirt jacket from a shacket.
It's a shacket.
From
or a jert. Like jert or shacket?
I go shacket.
Right.
I think I like shacket better.
I think jert is probably taken in some country on the other side of the world.
Jert sounds like something like a nickname for a player you hate. Like, oh, that Kirk Maltby was such a jerk.
It sounds like something women wear to play tennis in. Oh, she's wearing a jert.
Jert. Yeah, I see that. Okay.
Like with her squirts.
Oh my.
Jerts and squirts. Or it sounds like, one team wears squirts, the other team wears jerts. All right, tonight it's jerts and squirts. Hey,
Bill, how was your Christmas?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't get a jert. I was really hoping. No, Christmas was good. Had a lot of time with family over the few days in and around it. Had a pretty good. Made a really nice prime rib, as I do on Christmas.
Is that the tradition? The prime rib on Christmas for you?
It is. It's
that's a cool. How do you cook it in the au jus, or do you cook it in the oven, or how do you cook your prime rib?
Grill it.
Okay.
Nice.
I know there were some chefs I used to work with. When I was a kid, when I was a waiter, they would, I guess they'd cook it, I think in a pan of au jus on the grill in a pan, and then finish it off in the oven, I think. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would keep it super
Yeah.
moist.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I've been doing this. I think this is our 6th year doing it. And it's yeah.
Are you telling me that you started a tradition the same year I did? Because this was my 6th year of making eggnog for both families. Not just buying it in the store, but actually making it. If you want a hint for people who maybe have said, "Oh, I don't like eggnog," or "It's just not very good," make it with brandy. That is the key. I've discovered this. I discovered this about 10 years ago, and whoo, yeah, man, it's good with brandy. So good.
They also sell eggnog in the stores made with whiskey, I believe.
Yes, it's typically, I think people use whiskey or rum, but I don't know. I'm telling you what, you're going full in on the sweet, right? So you might as well just add more sweet to it. Get some brandy in there. It's fantastic.
You ever had brandy Alexander there, Jeff?
I have not.
The ice cream with I use cream de cocoa and brandy brandy and maybe something else. But
pretty good.
It's a blender and it's like a shake. Yeah. Oh, it's super good. You gotta drizzle the inside of the glass with some Hershey's syrup or something. And quite good.
I also go ahead, Bill.
I was going to say, I think that was made at a girly drink night once upon a time.
I believe you're right. Yep.
Still good. Who cares?
Fine drink. Yep.
I also got, Bill, I don't know if you have it already. I did pick up NHL 24 on Christmas.
No.
And you're complaining about it online already.
Oh my God. All
you NHL snobs out there, you video gaming snobs, can't wait to bitch on the latest NHL EA Sports game. Why do you even put yourself through this stuff? You buy the game and you bitch about it every year.
You expect it to get better.
But what's the definition of insanity, Jeff?
What they're missing is they need competition.
You know
they need the 2K series to come back.
You know what? I have not bought an EA NHL game in a long time. PS2 is my son has a Switch, but PS2 is the last version of a console I have here at home. I've done PC stuff since, but okay, I bet you if I bought NHL 24, I'd find it amazing because I haven't played it in a long time.
Probably.
I haven't played it since
the problem is and I get that like they are trying to find ways to improve it, but like they've changed a lot of the controls again, and it's just like, I'm old. It's the same controller. Why are we changing controls? Like hitting is completely different. There's other things like vision control, and it's just, man, just give me a good game. I mean, I hate to sound like an old fogey here, but just give me NHL 95 and can run around, hit people, and score goals. That's all I want in my NHL game.
Did they take away the option of using NHL 94 controls?
Yes.
I'm not buying it then.
So what year has it? 23?
23 has it.
Okay.
23, I think up until 23, they had it for at least 5 years where you could do the NHL 94 controls, but yeah, now it's all skill stick, or I can't remember what they're calling it, but it's basically the same thing. It's you got to hit square or X to deliver a certain kind of hit on one control. The other one, you have to pull back so your player gets ready and then goes into the hit and pull forward. It's just like, come on, like split-second decisions here in hockey. Like it's not that calculated.
The people that come out in droves to complain about pumpkin spice things in the fall. It's the same thing with people complaining about EA's NHL game every year. People just, you and Tyler Stewart's on there bitching about everything.
Okay. The thing that I've seen, and I'm going to listen, there's a few people who have said, if you just keep with it, get your ass kicked basically for 2 weeks, you stick with it, you'll love it. So I'm going to try that. I'm just, man, it's infuriating because it's just like, God, I know how to play this damn game. I know how to win, but the goalies are so bad too.
I don't feel sorry for you people. I mean, was the game bought for you?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ask for it?
Kind of.
Well, okay. That's on you then.
My niece, so my niece who is 11 asked me, what do you want for Christmas? And just as a joke, I said, oh, NHL 24. She's not going to spend $70 on me. She's 11. So yeah, of course, on Christmas, there it is. It wrapped up NHL 24. I'm like, how the hell did you get this?
Maybe it's stolen.
Maybe it's possible.
Maybe there's a GameStop out there missing a game.
Yeah. Oh, we found it. It's it's in Oakville. Go get that guy.
My Christmas was good. Standard Christmas, typical, which meant it was really, really good. Just at my parents' house, and yeah, it was a fun time. Christmas morning with the kids was fun. Yeah, nothing weird or strange or unusual happened, I don't think. So that was good, I guess. I hope everyone in the chat and all the listeners listening right now had a fantastic Christmas or holiday season, if you will, to be inclusive. What was that? Remember Wayne Gretzky hockey game way back in the Windows 95 days? I do.
Oh yeah,
I do.
That was a great game.
I got it.
It was
it
good.
was terrible. The the NES version of it was terrible.
I was going to say
I played it on NES.
Genesis had it, didn't they too? They had Genesis had one.
Was it Genesis?
I don't know if Genesis.
No,
had it.
it was.
Nintendo did.
I think it was. I think it was Genesis, and that's the one I'm thinking about.
Which one am I? I'm thinking of Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey. Does that sound right? Is that the same thing? Yeah, Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey was on Nintendo 64. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
Wayne
there was one
Gretzky-
before that was on the Genesis, and it was just terrible.
Wayne Gretzky and the NHLPA All Stars. That was the
Maybe
Genesis game and Super Nintendo.
That sounds right. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah,
because it's him in his Team Canada jersey, right?
It is, yeah, red and white. Either that or a Red Wings jersey. I can't tell.
Yeah, I had that one too.
Yes, that's it. That's the one that's coming up. So,
well, anyway,
I never played it. I've seen it. I thought people liked it, but I could be wrong.
I mean, it's a bad game. You play it now and you're like, what the fuck? But like, back in the day, it was fun. It was just fun. And there's a game I have. I always forget what it's called. It's called like NHL Open Ice. It's on PlayStation 1. And it's basically their answer to NBA Jam.
Yeah.
And that game is awful, but I'll pop it in every now and then and play it and have the time of my life.
Just play Hit the Ice.
That's a good one too.
I've got that on my arcade. That's just
the other one. NHL Hits. That one's good too.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, Justin Scott, friend of the show, Justin Scott, he has started up a new blues podcast. It's called Inside the Note. It's on YouTube, so give them a follow and a listen. I assume you search for Inside the Note podcast on YouTube. It should come up.
Yeah, I typed in Inside the Note. I think I just typed Inside the Note podcast, and it was the first thing that popped up. I think they've had one episode so far.
I believe so, yes. Yep.
So yeah, congrats to Justin Scott. Welcome to the podcasting community.
Good luck
have
to
some
you.
fun. Yeah, good luck to you. And, maybe we'll have to have you on after you've had a couple episodes. And, that way you're well seasoned and you can keep up with us.
Right. Yeah, 2 episodes should do it. No big deal.
That's how long it took Bill. Actually, the first thing you ever said on the show was happy to be a part of the organization. And I remember Kurt and I just laughed and we're like, all right, he already fits in.
Well, you got to speak the speak, talk the talk.
Yeah. I kind of grew up in hockey locker rooms and knew the sound bites.
The official beers of episode number 443. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. My handle is CPrice12. Jeff's is JPonder94. Bill's is Billy Bluno at 33. Should change this to official beverage of the episode because half the time I don't do beers. I'm like switching it up. So now last week I went first.
You've gone first the last 2 weeks, I think.
Not the last 2, the last 1 week I think I went first. But we have had a really good week. So maybe we'll keep doing this for a while until we'll see what happens. All right. I've got all I have is my fruit punch Mio water. So nothing exciting there. My flavored water. But
that's the kind of energy you want to bring into an Avalanche game, right?
in my in my Ozark Trail insulated tumbler there, and I'll tell you what, the Ozark Trail tumbler at Walmart for like $9 or $10, whatever it is, almost every bit as good as a Yeti, and it's like a fourth of the price. So there you go. That's my tip for you people.
Bill,
And by you
leaving
people,
those
I
to you.
mean exactly what you think I mean.
Blues fans.
Blues fans. Exactly. What do you think I meant?
Bill, follow that.
I am trying to keep a thing going and actually having a beer. I have the 4 Elf Winter Warmer from Dark Horse Brewing out of Marshall, Michigan. They're up near the Grand Rapids area, up near both Founders and not too terribly far away from Bell's, but very good winter warmer beer. You know, lots of winter flavors: cinnamon, cherry, brown sugar, clove, nutmeg, honey. It's good.
10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Boom.
So tonight I am drinking. Actually, I was telling the boys, first night for everything, right? We're in episode 443. First time any of us have had a pony keg. You can see I'm picking it up with one hand. There's not a lot left.
That's not a pony keg.
That's not what this is called?
It's a mini horse keg.
That's I don't know what it is. A lot of beer is what it is. Pony keg's one of those skinny ones.
Oh, well, then that's not what this is. I always thought this was a pony keg.
Unless I'm like, I think I'm right.
You might be. I don't know. I'll look it up on break. But
okay.
I've got a small keg here of Christmas ale from Breckenridge Brewery, which is a good Christmas ale. And yeah, so you can see it's a nice dark beer. Where's the camera? There it is. Yeah, so I opened this up last night. Well, I was telling the boys at Schnucks, it was cheaper to get this than a 6-pack of the same beer. So I was like, even if I don't drink it all, that's a much better buy. So I got it. It's been sitting in my fridge. I had a friend over last night. We drank a lot of it. And I thought I can finish it on the show because you just got to drink it within 48 hours of opening it. So, yeah, still tastes good. And I plan to tap this bitch tonight. So we will see.
Okay. The capacity of a standard pony keg is 7.75 gallons.
This is only 1.32 gallons.
Okay.
So that's not what this is.
Okay.
What the hell do you call it?
I do see a picture of one. It's called the Greg, and it's 2 gallons. So it's almost that.
Okay. Let me just look it up on Breckenridge's site.
How many gallons is that?
Greg?
How many gallons?
Greg.
How many gallons is that again?
1.32.
Okay. So it's like 60% Greg. 65.
They're just calling it a mini keg on their website.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess
so. Yeah,
nice
we'll call. I'm okay with that. Mini keg.
Mini keg. Yeah. Nice. When I heard you said pony keg, I'm like, wow, you're finished off a pony keg. That's 7 gallons of beer.
I had no idea that there was a difference. I just thought it's a tiny keg. It's called a pony keg.
And I can see where that would be.
I've never had a pony keg. Then I kind of want to get myself one.
7 gallons is a good amount for a nice party, you know.
Of course, Justin Scott tunes in now. We've already plugged your podcast, asshole. Like, where were you earlier? Jesus. Here. I'll be nice. I'll do it one more time.
Inside the Note on YouTube. Justin Scott. I'm not sure how often. Maybe he can let us know how often they plan on doing shows.
My tip to anyone who podcasts: you do not have to post every week like we do. You don't have to post every month. But as long as you keep it in the same cadence, tell your audience we will post once a week, once a month, once every 3 months, whatever it is. Just keep to that.
That's
and
what
you will get an audience.
It's exactly what I told him. I said, just be consistent with your release times, and so people know about when it's coming out. So yeah, I try to anyway. You know.
Yeah. So
shit happens.
Yeah, between 9:15 and midnight on Wednesday or Thursday.
I was gonna say, don't be like us, and
Right.
if you tell your
Well-
audience a time, stick
No.
to it.
We are very consistent in saying 9:15 and starting at 9:30, 9:40 in that little window there. We are very consistent in that. The St. Louis Blues have some prospects in the World Junior Championships, which is going on right now. 7. The Blues have 7 in the tournament, which is tied for league high. Jimmy Snuggerud, Otto Stenberg, Theo Lindstein, Alexandre Kaskamaki, Jakob Stancil? Is it an I?
Stancil,
It's
I
an L.
believe.
Stancil. Dalibor Dvorsky and Pekarchik?
I believe it's Yuri
Yuri Pekarchik? Pekarchik.
How do you say it? It's pronounced the same way as Slavkovsky. How do you say his first name, Bill?
Uri.
Yuri Pekarchik, I believe is how you say that.
We need to start when we put down these names in show notes, phonetic spelling only, because this is ridiculous. Ridiculous. I don't know. I was gonna say one word and change my mind. I combined 2 words together.
I like. Okay, I'm sorry. My nephew, 16 last year, when he was 15, they were trying to get the attention of my niece, who's 10 at the time, and same one who bought me HO24, and she's just not paying attention, and he looks at my wife and he goes, "God, she's so obliterate." And my wife looks at him and goes, "What?" And he goes, "She's obliterate." And she goes, "Did you just combine oblivious and illiterate?" And he goes, "Oh, shit, yeah, I'm not going to hear the end of this one, am
The
I?"
irony
Nope.
in that statement is hilarious.
Isn't it?
That's a pretty good definition of irony, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Jimmy Snuggerud and Otto Stenberg both had hat tricks today. Snuggerud's came in the first
Did
period.
you just call him Ottawa Stenberg?
Otto, did I?
think
Otto?
you did.
We'll have to replay that.
I heard Otto.
Otto
Okay,
Stenberg.
maybe I'm wrong. Okay, Otto Stenberg. Okay.
Both had hat tricks. Snuggerud's came in the first period, natural hat trick. Like 13 minutes into the first period, he had a hat trick in the USA's 11-3 rout of Switzerland. Blues selected Snuggerud at 23rd overall in the 2022 NHL draft, and Stenberg was 25th overall this past summer. So, good looking prospect so far. Dvorsky has got a lot of press coming over too, so it'll be fun watching these kids come up and play over the next few
one
years.
thing about, so I don't know if you guys saw any of Snuggerud's or Stenberg's goals, but
I saw Snuggerud's goals.
so Snuggerud's, I think it was his 3rd goal, and then Stenberg's 1st goal were just bomb wrist shots from the hash marks. Snuggerud's was off a face-off win, and I mean just an absolute snipe of a shot from both of them on both those goals. And I'm like, oh, and then if you watch Snuggerud in these games, which I watched last year, he's the man now, like for Team USA. Something I'm really excited about him, and I know we talked about this when Tage Thompson came up. He's a shooter. He will shoot every fucking chance he gets. And seeing him out there just dominating, I mean, absolutely dominating play in the offensive zone is so exciting, and it really gives you a lot of hope for the future with this kid. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to be a 50 goal scorer, but I can tell you what, I think this kid will easily be a top 6 player in the NHL if he keeps this progression going, because he has got a bomb of a shot, and he is so good about getting into open ice.
The Blues have 2 or 3 guys that could be top that are projecting to be top 6 forwards. So, this is, I mean, it's I think the depth of the Blues forward group, and they should be coming in the next year or two. So, I mean, the depth should be maintained, if you will. When guys leave, we get the young kids coming up. So hopefully, that they transition well into the NHL, and we have some fun young kids to root for here in the next year or two.
Yeah, Stenberg too, man. I mean,
Yeah.
Again, getting into open ice, ripping shots. I mean, that's what you kind of. And again, I don't want to lead off the show ripping on Kyrou, but like that's kind of been the knock on him, especially this year. Is dude, just fire the fucking puck, and you hope that Stuggerud and Stenberg will keep that up. Man, the Blues in let's say 2-3 years, if Kyrou continues improving his play, which we'll talk about a lot, I think this week on the show. I mean, you're talking about having Snuggerud, Kyrou, and Stenberg just ripping shots on 3 separate lines across the Blues lineup. I mean, it's salivating for Blues fans if this works out the way that I'm hoping it will.
We're going to get into the recent Blues games, but we're due for a break right now. So on the other side of this break, we're going to talk about games against Florida, which we talked about before the show, like it seemed like forever ago. And a game against Chicago, which was rather interesting. And then, of course, the good game against Dallas. So we'll talk about that on the other side of this break. You're listening to Kurt, Bill, and Jeff on Let's Go Blues Radio.
We'll return after these messages.
We've all tried a diet or workout fad at one time or another, but it always ends the same, right? We either lose the weight and then get back to our routine, but then put the weight right back on, or it just simply never takes hold. It's time to move into a habit-based program that focuses on organization and simplicity. Rock and That Idea Life's Lean 30 lays it all out for you with the correct food to eat, how to meal prep, and even sprinkles in plenty of healthy recipes. With Lean 30, you'll get the full ID Life arsenal, including energy for that needed kick, a tasty Nourish shake for your needed fiber intake, Slim Plus to help control your cravings and provide a metabolic boost, Lean capsules help bust those sugar cravings, and IED Nutrition gives you the added punch you need that takes the guesswork out of what supplements to take. Join the many who are seeing success and make this your last first day on a new program. Visit rockandthatidealife.com to get started, and remember to email Dustin at rockandthatidealife@gmail.com for an extra 10% off exclusively for Let's Go Blues Radio listeners. Start your transformation to the confident, vibrant person you've always wanted to be with rockandthatidealife.com.
St. Louis hockey fans know how it takes a reliable captain and a team of hard workers to achieve major goals. As a police officer and a hockey player, Realtor Mike Burgoyne would wear the C in any situation. As a leader in the home buying or selling process, Mike has surrounded himself with a team of trustworthy inspectors, lenders, and escrow officers that work together more cohesively than Hall & Oates. And as a member of many teams in his life, Mike knows the service our first responders, veterans, nurses, teachers, and yes, even you Let's Go Blues Radio listeners provide the community, so he offers special rates to those individuals. Find the value in Mike's leadership and teamwork today by emailing him at mike@strikewithmike.com or calling 314-753-4060. He'll work closely with you and only show you the homes that match your goals. That email again is mike@strikewithmike.com or call him at 314-753-4060 and succeed with your new teammate today.
Buddy, where's the spatula?
Okay, kids, let's go.
There's just one place to go for all your spatula needs.
Spatula City! Spatula City!
A giant warehouse of spatulas for every occasion. Thousands to choose from in every shape, size, and color. And because we eliminate the middleman, we can sell all our spatulas factory direct to you. Where do you go when you want to buy name brand spatulas at a fraction of retail cost?
Spatula City! Spatula City!
And this weekend only, take advantage of our special liquidation sale. Buy 9 spatulas, get the 10th one for just 1 penny. Don't forget, they make great Christmas presents.
And what better way to say I love you than with the gift of a spatula? Spatula City! Spatula City!
Hello, this is Cy Greenbloom, president of Spatula City. I like their spatulas so much, I bought the company.
Spatula City, 7 locations. We're in the yellow pages under spatulas.
My, where did you get that lovely spatula?
Spatula City, we sell spatulas, and that's all.
And now, back to Let's Go Blues Radio, the longest running St. Louis Blues podcast with Price, Ponder, and Day.
So the Blues will go back a couple of games real quick. The Blues did defeat the Panthers 4-1 in Florida. Coming 2 nights after the Blues dropped that awful game to the Lightning 6-1, which was the worst game by far by the Blues under Drew Bannister.
Yeah,
the only
it's the only loss they've had. So
right.
clearly,
But
it's easy
it was
to
a
say that.
bad
But
loss. It wasn't just a loss. It was a bad.
It was the anemic Blues. It was the oh boy, here we go. They're still on this roller coaster ride. I want to say what Bill said before the show because I wanted to comment on this too. Does that game against the Panthers, this 4-1 win we're talking about, does that not feel like that was like 4 weeks ago?
It's a long. Well, the Christmas break. Yeah, I mean it does. It seems like there's a lot has happened just in life between now and then too. So it's like, it seems like a long time ago.
Well, like for me, and I'm sure it's the same for you guys, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day feel like it's about a week and a half all on its own. So when I was going through and putting some of my notes in this document that we all work off of, I'm sitting here like, is this right? There's no way. And I had to go back and check the schedule. It's like, this game, we talked about this last week. Oh no, we didn't.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. So we gotta go back and talk about this game.
Yep.
A little, I mean, it was a nice win against a Florida team that, I mean, they're kind of struggling, but it was a typical St. Louis Blues game. The poor performance, stretch of games, bad game against Tampa Bay, good game against Florida. So you're like up and down Blues continue, right? Florida has lost 4 of the last 5 games after this game.
And in this
they've
game,
been outscored 15-2 in those 4 losses, by the way.
Did it not scare you after this win thinking, damn it, and they got the Blackhawks before Christmas? That's going to be a letdown game. And we'll get to it. It looked like it was going to be. But,
it seems like this season that the term letdown game is being used an awful lot. When it's like it doesn't seem like that should apply anymore because how often it's used. It's not even a letdown; it's expected.
Yeah,
how they've been playing because they'll have a really good game, and then they'll have a really shit game, and they'll have a good game against teams you won't expect them to have these games against. It's very strange.
Well, I mean, one of their best games of the season was against Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
and one of their worst games of the season was against Tampa Bay. It doesn't make any sense.
The good game was against Tampa Bay in St. Louis, and the bad game was against Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay. So maybe
but
there's
still,
something to that.
for it to be that big of a drop off between games is crazy.
And we've talked about this as like, well, that's this team. They're inconsistent, and this is what an inconsistent team looks like. This is what. I mean, it sounds weird to say it, but I mean, every week we say, well, this is weird. They play great one game and bad another. But you got to remind yourself, well, they're kind of inconsistent. That's what should be expected. So this should not be. It's weird that it's surprising when it probably shouldn't be.
Well, we're all hoping for them to figure out and not have that inconsistency. And I think the Tampa Bay game was the first game under Bannister where it was like, oh, these are the same bad patterns we've seen all year. So seeing the bounce back game, seeing Hofer get the start, do very well against Florida, that was a great, a great way to keep it from being just making the Tampa game a blip on the radar.
I think.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off what you said last week, Kurt, about how this team, this is what they are. They're inconsistent. You really look at, you could basically cut the NHL. I don't want to say into thirds, but you could cut it into 3 different sections: consistently good, inconsistent, consistently bad. And the Blues sit in that inconsistent middle where it's just, you're going to have a great stretch of games like this week. 3 wins in a row. They look like world beaters. Guess what? Would not surprise me one bit if they come out in their next game tomorrow night and just lay an egg, because they're an inconsistent team. That's just how it works.
And I've got this to talk about later, but since we're on it, I mean, this right now, to me, is the biggest game of the season. If we're talking about the Blues trying to shed and shake that inconsistent label, if they can put together wins against Florida, the nice come from behind game against Chicago, the really good win against Dallas, and if they can beat Colorado, I mean, that's a nice. I mean, Chicago's terrible, but the way they came back was fun and exciting and impressive. So there's two sides to that coin. But
we'll get to it, but
these 4
games, the Blackhawks comments about Soderblom, Blackhawks fans.
Oh, well,
they were hilarious.
Yeah, these 4 games though. I mean, this if they beat Colorado, and you have to start having the conversation. It's like, okay, I mean, they're the new coach, right? So at least for the time being, anyway, and the way they're playing now, putting together some impressive wins back to back to back. It's like, at what point do you talk about this team turning the page from being less inconsistent and a little more consistent on the good side of this play, on their play? So I think it's a huge game tomorrow, how they play. Even if they lose, if they play really well and lose 2-1 or something, if they play well against Colorado, this is a big test for me, for them.
We'll get to that.
Yep. Right. Exactly. Florida hit 3 posts before the Blues went up 1-0 in this game, which I think people forget about. So Florida could have easily been up by a couple. Only goal they scored on Hofer was fluky. The little dump in shot hits a stanchion. There was some question of whether it hit that curved glass, which Kelly thought it did. Rivers said it didn't. And I love the dynamic between Kelly and Rivers. When Rivers disagrees with Kelly, he just comes right out and says it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he does. He calls him on it. Pang used to kind of softly. Yeah. Just kind of be like, well, I don't know, John. And maybe he'd move. Rivers no.
Rivers yeah. Actually, I think it did this.
Bill, have you ever had this kind of goal scored on you?
Yeah. Play long enough, it happens, right? Just bad hop off the boards. I mean,
did you guys think it was? I personally, I thought it was fine. The goal, I thought, from where it hit, it didn't hit the inside, basically where the bench is, and then pop out, because that would have been impossible. It's like the magic loogie. That's the second cycle reference.
There's that curved glass there. And they were
but if it's hitting on the inside of the bench part, though, I don't think it bounces into the net. I think it bounces back out to center.
Well, not that, but that part that's going towards inside the bench is curved. So
right, I know, but I'm saying if it hits, you can't see it, but there's a line of, okay, this is the bench and this is in play. To me, if it hits the bench part, it doesn't bounce into the net. If it hits off the curved glass on the in-play part, it can still bounce in the net.
There is no curved glass on the in-play part.
What?
It's all out of bounds. It's all the curved glass is out of play.
All of it?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it hit right where the curve ended in play.
No,
and I think that's legal.
If it hits,
you don't think it hit there?
There's a metal stanchion where the curve ends and it goes straight, and that's the part of the glass that metal stanchion is in play, I guess.
I guess.
But the curved glass is out of play.
I mean, I guess you're right.
I mean, if you think about it, that none of the curved glass can be in play because if you get a puck going off that little curve piece, that's a goofy bounce. I mean, it was anyway, but I think it hits that metal stanchion, and which you see from time to time, hits the metal stanchion, takes a goofy bounce, goes somewhere else, unexpected. So anyway,
and I love they can just laugh about it now because
sure,
they won the game. Who cares? It sucks he lost his shutout for it, but. It was fine. I don't know if you guys saw. I wanted to comment on the social media comments.
Yeah,
me too. And it wasn't a lot. There were some people who were like, "Why is Hofer out of the net there? Binnington would have been there." No, he wouldn't have, because that is one thing the Blues consistently have with their netminders: 2 guys who like to play the puck. And so you're telling me you think Binnington would have stayed in the crease on that? No way. No. He's going behind the net to play it too. So it didn't matter who was in net; that was going to happen.
You have to. The Blues want their goalies to cut that puck off. The Blues goalies play the puck very well, Hofer especially, and that's every time. You don't want him delaying and missing the puck. You don't want him. I don't think. I think. And Bill, if a goalie's philosophy is different, let me know. But I wouldn't want my goalie like being hesitant to leave the net on those plays because on the super rare chance it hits off the glass goofy and then goes directly in the net. You see it happen every once in a while. It may never happen to Hofer again in his NHL career. So I think continually to delay come out of your net and maybe miss a bunch of pucks behind the net because you wanted to make sure it wrapped around. I think that's I don't think that's when fans say that. I don't think that they're really thinking that through about this is pretty rare. I mean, it happens.
I'll just say I think you'll see that once a season when you
in
have
the NHL.
Yes.
Yeah.
Two goalies who play the puck on the same team. At most, you'll see that once a season.
Yeah. And that's the right play, right?
Sure.
Get behind the net, cut it off. I mean, you talk about being hesitant. I remember I had an old blooper tape, and there was Greg Millen when he played for the Blues. Friend of the show. And it was a game in Madison Square Garden circa 86, 87. And he was really hesitant getting out of the net. It was a kind of a weird, slow dump in, and he didn't commit. But then he went as the puck started getting down below the hash marks. It still went in the net. It hit the end boards, or it hit right where it starts curving and kicked straight across into the net. And it's like,
the whole
still made the right play.
The whole don't leave too early applies. You want to make sure they're actually dumping it in and not shooting it at the net. That's the whole don't leave too early. Because I remember when the Blues played the Red Wings back in the late 90s, it was at Larionov, I believe. He would angle his body like he's dumping it in, but then angle his blade so the puck would go on net. And so he'd his body language was saying he's dumping it in, but the shot would go towards net. And he did it against the Blues. And he damn near scored on him one time. The goalie to dive back and knock the puck away. But so that's the general thinking is don't leave too early. Make sure it's being dumped in first. Not don't leave too early to make sure it doesn't take a bad bounce. Like you said, Bill, it can take a bad bounce anywhere. If you're waiting for the end goal for it to make sure it doesn't take a bad bounce, you're never leaving the net.
Bill, can you, from that distance, he was just at the red line when he shot that. I forgot who it was. I want to say it was a name I won't be able to say. Whatever.
Who scored the goal?
Eetu Luosterainen, I believe is how you say his name. He was at the red line, I think, when he did that. So in terms of sight lines, let's just assume with contacts, glasses, whatever, you've got 20/20 vision. Can you see how the puck's coming off their blade from that spot on the ice? Or is it like they're just going to dump it in just because of their body language?
You have to see the puck come off their stick and know where it's going. Because I've had guys, in men's league when they get an idea that you're going to go behind the net, that they won't do the Larionov and shift their body, but they're going to change their, as they're coming down, they're going to just throw it at the net. And you have to see it come off the stick before you commit. He made the right play, right? He didn't get fooled and just fluke goal.
It's a fluky play. You can't yell at the goalie over a fluky thing. I don't like yelling at any player over a fluky thing because it's a fluky thing. I mean, the fluke implies, well, you can't do anything about it. Just fluky, weird, shitty thing happened and you just move on.
Well, it reminds me of, I was at the game that infamous goal Blues fans hate to talk about. Mark Bergevin throwing it in his own net on Roman Turek. And I remember a guy behind me because they wouldn't show the replay on the big screen. They would not show it. And there was a guy in front of us turned around to me and the guy behind me. And he said, and my dad, and he said, Bergevin threw that in. And he's like, he threw it in. And because the guy was yelling at Turek. And so then the guy goes, well, Turek should be able to read that, right? He's a goalie. The puck's coming at him. He should know to stop it. And it's like, dude, do you really think that a goalie is ready for his teammate to throw it in his own net? Like, here we are, 23 years later? Have we seen that since? You know, like sometimes fluky shit just happens.
I think it has happened once since. I forgot who did it. But I will say about that play, though, and we can move on, but I think it was weird to me that Turek was in the middle of his net with the puck generally being at that side of the goal. I did think it was odd that he was standing in the middle of the goal. I'm not putting the goal on him, but I was like it's a weird positioning for him to not be over on that post when the puck was over there anyway. That was kind of odd to me.
Maybe. I don't know. But either way, I mean, like you said,
maybe
you
he
can't
wasn't
put it on
a
the
good goalie or something.
Yeah. You're
That's
telling
quite
me Roman Turek wasn't in perfect position all the time?
Both teams had a goal waved off in this game. Bushnevich had one waved off, and Panthers forward Ryan Lundberg had a goal disallowed after he high sticked. Stick was high above the crossbar.
I loved, and we'll talk about a little bit more throughout this show, that first line, reunited under Bannister, Buchnevich, Thomas Kyrou. They, you see a lot of times a line will get a goal disallowed, and then maybe they don't make another big play the rest of the night. Buchnevich scored 2 minutes after that goal was disallowed?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they came right back and scored another huge goal. And it was just like, man, this line, just nothing is stopping them right now.
It's Bushnevich, Thomas, and Kyrou. They should be doing this. Right. This line should be your most dynamic line. So, and they are. So that's good to see.
And honestly, the patience by Buchnevich on that goal is incredible.
Oh,
yeah. This line combined for 8 points in this game. They were
3 goals. 3 goals, 5 assists.
Buchnevich 2 goals, 1 assist. Kyrou 1 goal, 1 assist, and Thomas 1 assist. I mean, they have, man. I said
Thomas had 3 assists. 3 assists.
I'm sorry, 3 assists. Yeah. I said early in the season, and I said even I think up until 2 weeks ago, you need to split Thomas and Kyrou. Kyrou is, even if Kyrou's going, for some reason, Thomas isn't. Bannister, for some reason, has found the magic formula because they are playing so well together.
Florida, Barkov won 14 of 17 faceoffs for Florida, which is kind of eye-opening. That's a lot. A high percentage in NHL, when typically anything over 50% is really good. Parayko blocked 6 shots in this game. Could bully on him for that. Florida did outshoot the Blues 38-24 in this game, but it was noted during the game that Florida does shoot from everywhere, so that was a little misleading in terms of I didn't look at Money Puck to see deserve to win a meter because that thing is fucking always wrong.
Yeah. Well, and it's worth noting too, the power play, St. Louis 0 for 1, Florida also 0 for 1. So not a lot of penalties in this game. But Hofer, great game. It's up to this point a career high 37 saves. So that's, good for him, man. He's had some really rough games this year, but he's typically like Binnington his first year in the NHL. He's bounced back very nicely when he needs to.
Well, I'm looking. Oh my gosh. Okay, I lied. I did pull up the deserve to win a meter, and after it's simulating now, it's at 1,000 games. Wow, I have never seen. Okay, Florida, according to Advanced Stats and Money Puck, Florida in 1,000 simulations wins this game 86% of the time, 86.3. To the Blues 13.8. Yikes. I mean, Hofer did play well. He did. He played well. And Florida hit 3 posts. So maybe there's something to that. The Blues have a miracle comeback against the Blackhawks in a 7-5 win in regulation on the 23rd. I didn't get to pay overly close attention to this game when it was on. I had to watch it later on the DVR, and I was getting ready to go to my parents for New Year's Eve. So, so I was like running and going.
New Year's Eve.
What did I say? New Year's? Christmas Eve.
New Year's Eve. Wow.
Christmas Eve.
You watched this in the future.
So, and I did see Bedard's goal when it happened, and I was like, I mean, I love. Okay, we can talk about this goal a little bit because there's a lot to talk about, and fantastic Michigan goal by Bedard. I personally love seeing. I'm a forward, so maybe I'm biased, but I love seeing this goal. At the same time, but people online saying this should be banned from hockey. It's not hockey. I'm like,
that's ridiculous.
What the fuck ever. That's a stupid thing to say. But anyway, but with on the same on that point, if someone does this against my team, I'm paying special attention to them the rest of the game. They're going to have a rough go the rest of the game because they're
especially in the first period.
First period, showboating. They pulled it off. Good for him. Boy, if you miss it though, it's like it's worse if you miss it. But yeah, no, he hits it and great, a fantastic goal. It was fun to watch, even though it was Bedard. I'm like, wow, fuck, that was a good goal. But it's funny. I will say that when John Kelly called this goal,
it was a terrible call,
wasn't it? Because he didn't know what to call it.
He looked it over his head.
He didn't know what to call it. He didn't know it was called a Michigan, apparently. And had Kelly never seen this kind of goal before? Because he said, this is the greatest goal I think that I've ever seen. And I'm like, this happens every year. Someone does it.
I like what Justin Scott says here. He even says Bedard's Michigan wasn't even the best Michigan of the night.
No, I know.
Like Zegras had one later and it was better.
Yeah. Yeah. I love John Kelly, but every once in a while he says something. And I'm like, you've been around the game a long time. You should know that
he gets caught in the moment very easily sometimes. And sometimes for an announcer, that's awesome.
But this is an easy call, though. This is an easy call.
What's the one? Is it his call on the Steen goal against Quick? I can't remember. There's one where he literally yells into the camera, "Oh my God!" Like,
well, he wasn't.
He like loses his mind.
You know why? Because he didn't see it happen. He was looking down at his notes. He said this, and because nothing was going to happen, the Steen's one forechecker in, and he was looking down at some notes, and all of a sudden looks up and the puck's in the net. So it surprised him.
Yeah, but either way, I think he does get caught in the moment.
Yeah.
So I'll give him that. But yeah,
still, I thought it was an easy
funny.
goal.
Greatest goal I've ever seen. So as a defenseman, I do appreciate the Michigan. We've had the Michigan talk on this show before. I do appreciate the Michigan, but I will say, like you kind of said, Kurt, I'm like, okay, who's gonna fucking make sure he doesn't do this again? Because to pull off the Michigan, you need time and space behind the net. And if you have that and you're skilled like Zegras or Bedard, you can pull that off all the time. So now it's like going into the rest of the game. And again, like I said, in the first period, he pulls this off. You're not going to allow him any time behind the net anymore, right? And I feel like they did do that. There was a couple times where I saw Bedard glide behind the net, and right away, Parayko came from the other side and cut him off. And it was like, okay, good. Don't give him that time.
To me, it's not even so much that. It's just like not letting him do it again. To me, it's I am putting him into the boards extra hard every chance I get, or I'm making the open eyes hit instead of gliding by him to make him pay for showboating. And showboating might be a harsh word for it, but he's showing off. It's a fancy goal, and you make the other team look really bad. So you make them look foolish. You make the goalie look bad. You make the defense look bad. So it's okay. So and it's not just the Michigan goal. It's any time a player might showboat and do something fancy and make you look ridiculous. You want to make them pay for that. It's okay, you can do that, but you're gonna eat glass a few extra times this game for that.
I'll tell you, as someone, and again, I play beer league, but so it's probably even a little more ridiculous. I have had somebody pull the Michigan on us before in a game when they were already up by like 3 goals too, and it was just like, what the fuck, dude? So for me, I am like, I don't know. And again, beer league, I don't know. I feel like guys on the bench looked at that and were like, fuck that. Like, you're not going to score that kind of goal on us. And I hate to say it because I'm not promoting violence here, but I am waiting for one of these goals to be scored, and then somebody like a Radko Gudas, which that's a bad example, I guess, because he's on Zegras' team, but somebody, a Tom Wilson, to be like, hell no, I'm going to light that guy up next time we're on the rink together. Because you know it's going to happen. It is going to happen. Somebody's going to score a goal like that, and then 2-3 shifts later, they're going to get injured because somebody is going to run them as hard as they can.
It doesn't have to be dirty. It just, I mean, you can harass the hell out of anybody in particular if you want to. You may run out of position a little bit doing so, but you can harass the hell out of somebody. And Bedard's no different. You can harass him, and just, I mean, that's the way I'd approach it. I mean, if I have no problem with a guy trying that goal, I mean, at any point, even if they have a few goal lead, whatever. It's something that it's a goal that they're trying to score at all costs, right? And I get it, but it's just the way that it makes you look as a team. It makes you look silly. That's the revenge factor that does it for me.
The Baked Beaver, even a non-checking league, I'd give him the business.
Sure.
I'll tell
absolutely.
you right now, the guy that did it to us, that was 4 years ago. The only time I played against him, because it was right at the end of the game. So the only time I played against him since was in a charity hockey tournament. So I'm like, I can't fucking beat this guy's ass in a charity tournament. So I'm like, but trust me, I know the guy. And when it happens, I will probably give him a little extra shove into the glass because you don't pull that shit. And, unfortunately, that's just how the game is.
Did you guys see the? I shared it in the show notes, the outline, but the picture of the goal going in, the close up of Bennington. His eyes are closed. Bennington's eyes are closed, and so that was shared online, and people kind of made fun of Bennington for that, and I'm like, I mean.
So, what's the statistic on how many times you blink in a minute?
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah,
and whoever's taking this picture probably has 50 to 100 others that are happening simultaneously or consecutively, and just so happens that he found the one with the eyes closed that he published.
And blinking at this moment has no bearing on him making the save anyway. If we want to get technical about it,
right.
I mean, the puck's it's already in the net, basically. But this shot shows the heel of the stick slightly above the crossbar, and so of course the idiots on social media are thinking, "Oh, this is no goal, high stick above the crossbar." I'm like, yeah, but it's making contact with the puck below the crossbar. That's where the contact is. This is not a high stick.
Well, and I'll say too, Bennington's eyes closed and people making fun of that. The blinking thing, Bill's correct, but too, it's like at the very most, maybe he doesn't realize at the time what's happening, and maybe he just sees a stick coming at his face, and it's just like, oh shit, and you kind of react.
It's so dumb that you have to kind of rationalize the eyes being closed at this split second, because that's just it seems like such a non-issue, but it's captured, it's shared, and people just go off, mostly because a lot of people just hate Bennington and they can't wait to just rag on him for anything they can. And I'm not going to talk about. I shared a conversation here which I don't want to get into, but it was a conversation with me and a guy who was all up in Bennington's business about being a shitty goalie. He's only had one good half season in his career, overpaid, blah 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 blah. He's just a stupid. So Facebook's, why is Facebook worse than the rest? The Facebook comments on the team's official account are just the absolute.
I think honestly,
comments.
It's because they don't have character limits like Twitter. So people are like, oh, I can just mouth off on Facebook.
It's just really bad. It's just some of the dumbest stuff you read. The dumbest comments are on Facebook on the official the show on the team's official Facebook page is just awful, terrible. First 3 goals in this game. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so Gretzky, what he said during the telecast, I thought was kind of eye opening. Not to
makes sense though. It makes sense though.
He says I couldn't do what he did tonight. That just wasn't in my repertoire. And it's like, yeah, because I don't even think players thought about doing something like that back in the day. It was all, and I'll say the knock, I guess, that I will throw on it is it's a very individualized thing. So I think players of Gretzky's era were more pass, let's get our teammates involved kind of thing. And they just didn't think about this type of, Kurt, you called it showboating. I don't know if that's
it's not the right word. It's not the right word. But it's
showing off. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's in that ballpark. But Gretzky also said that it didn't really occur to him to even try that because goalies didn't go down like they do today when they go post to post. They stay up, so that spot's not available.
Yep.
Right.
So that was a big reason why he said it didn't really make sense to him to even try that.
Yeah. No, I was going to say I think the whole thing, between Bedard and Zegras doing the same thing on the same night. Like, look at their goals and look at how fluidly they did it, and go back to when Mike Legg first pulled that off. He had like 30 seconds behind the goal to
Mike Legg for Michigan.
For Michigan.
Yes.
The reason why we call it the Michigan.
Yes.
Right. He had so much time to bend down and get the puck to flip up on a stick. They are doing this in full stride, and that is completely different. And I think the evolution of goaltending to, the playing on your knees in the reverse VH when the puck is down along the boards has led to that being an opportunity to the point that the great one's making, right? It's the game is changing, and the super talented kids have figured out that they can pull this shit off in a game, and they're going to get away with it, right? It's part of the game now, right? It is a skill that is in the NHL, and we're only going to see it more often until defenses cut it out and goaltenders either, you get a league full of what's the 7-foot tall guy in Ottawa, right? You get a bunch of guys like that, even when they're playing on their knees, they're up at the crossbar.
Yep.
Until the game, does a further evolution, we're going to see more of this. And I think it's fun.
Did you see Binnington's response to this on Instagram stories the next day?
Yes.
So funny. For those who didn't see it, he posted, it was, the caption was, how to stop the Michigan. And it was this kid. It was clearly like a midget team. This kid tries to do the Michigan, and the goalie just takes his stick across and just whacks the kid across the face. And I thought, and of course people hated him for that, but I'm like, come on, he's clearly kidding. He's making a joke. He's not going to do that in an NHL game. But what I'm interested to see is if a goalie says, fuck it, I'm going to get my face in front of this, and then whoever is doing the Michigan hits the goalie in the face with his stick trying the Michigan, that's a high sticking penalty, right?
Sure.
So I hope they call it that way.
Yeah, I don't mind the way Binnington played this. I thought he got over to the post really well. I sealed it off well. I mean, there's just that pocket about to the left of his mask that's available. And it's just like that's with the way goalies play nowadays. It's a hard area to cover.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love to see if a goalie does that, gets his face in front of the stick. And the puck still goes in, see a disallowed goal, and then a goalie interference penalty and a high sticky penalty all in one. See if the referees really want this out of the game.
Give it to me, because that would make Zegras and Bedard go, oh, fuck, we got to be careful about doing this.
First 3 goals in this game were super impressive. You got Thomas's snipe, which was a fantastic play, fantastic goal. Bedard's Michigan goal, great goal. And Chicago's second goal, nice deflection, redirection in the slot. No chance for Binnington on that. It was just that was pretty good goals.
I posted on social media after that goal. I said, so is there anyone who wants to give Binnington trouble for the first 2 goals? And then I stupidly went and looked at the Blues Twitter post that was like, Blackhawks up 2-1. Binnington, what the hell? And I'm just, 3 or 4 comments right away that said that. And I'm like, yeah, that's ridiculous. Like right there, that tells you nobody understands goal. And I know it's a dumb minority, but come on.
It's I mean, this town the vocal minority does not get goaltending. They just don't at all.
But to their defense, they were predicting the future because the rest of the game he sucked balls.
Yes. I was going to say that. Yeah, I thought the rest of the game he was awful, and I don't know if he got rattled because of these goals or what.
I think a couple were not great goals, but that backdoor tap in was. I mean, what are you going to do about that?
On that one. I think he overcommitted, but I think he also thought because Falk
did that terribly.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
Falk
I really think
horribly.
he thought Falk has his man. Yeah. I'm going to overcommit on purpose and not give this guy anything to shoot at.
I'm not.
And Falk just did not handle it well.
I'm not on. I thought the cut to the middle that I forget who scored that goal. Kyrou got walked wide left side and cut in front. I thought Kyrou was soft defensively, which is not unexpected. But then I thought Bennington did a poor job of anticipating that play. I thought
he was shallow in his crease. He didn't cut the angle.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like that goal.
I do say that was more Kyrou. I agree, but
Kyrou's
not a defenseman.
No, I agree, and that was more to me. If you're Bennington, I don't know, you take that away somehow. But it's. I hated that goal against. A couple of the goals I didn't like against him, but other than that, he was all right for me. Which again, I guess 2 of the last 3 I didn't like. I wasn't
a fan of his game. I thought he was a little shaky overall. Again, I don't put it at all. I don't put the first 2 goals on him, but I thought overall his rebound control was off. Playing the puck was a little off. I just thought not his best game.
And then the comeback. So the power play came through, Saad's power play goal. And this goal to me, and I'll die on this hill, that this was equally as impressive as Bedard's goal.
The tip from the side of the net.
This took maybe more so impressive than Bedard's goal. This is a supremely skilled elite tip from an impossible angle. He had to put it in the perfect spot. I loved this goal. This was fantastic.
I did too. I think that's my favorite goal of the season.
Really nice.
Jake Neighbors and Jordan Kyrou both had really nice goals in that home Vegas game that they lost. But man, this goal,
beautiful.
First of all, the fact that the Blues power play has been awful up until very recently. So it was nice to see them get on the board in the power play. But again, it makes this game 5-3, jump starts that comeback. And beauty. I mean, I know that Kevin Hayes wasn't making that pass expecting Saad to be able to do that, but it was a perfect flat pass for him to deflect. And I think what Hayes was thinking was, because I think was it Kyrou that was on the other side of the net? I think he was thinking one pass to Saad right in the wheelhouse. He turns, slaps it over to Kyrou. Kyrou one times it in the goal. But then for Saad to be able to just
no, I'm doing this.
How do you do that?
That was fantastic. Such a sly, slick deflection.
Yeah.
It was.
Well, and I'll say, man, I don't know if I'm sure you guys have seen, but Brandon Saad gets a fair amount of hate, I think, from this fan base.
Yeah.
People saying it was a shit signing and he's not the player they thought he was. I think he's been exactly what the Blues thought he was, a top 6 second line left wing. And I mean, a play like that.
He's making
holy shit. Give me that all day.
He's making $4.5 million. I think he's just fine. Doing very well for $4.5 million. I don't know what people expect out of him.
I'm glad you agree, man. I loved that goal. Bill, what did you think?
Soderblom is the worst goalie in the
NHL. Yeah, he had a really bad third period.
The Falk goal.
That was
like,
beer league.
That was
really, really bad.
It's like I'd give up that goal like
and I feel Justin Falk was just putting that on net to maybe try to generate a rebound. Like there was no way he thought I'm going to score on this.
And before the Falk goal, so you got Saad's goal that was nice. You got Neighbors being in the right place at the right time. that takes that shot off of his leg and goes in on the power play again. And then Kyrou scoring while they're announcing that goal to tie. The crowd's already celebrating that goal. Kyrou scores while the roof goes off the building, ties the game. The comeback's complete. They've tied it. And then, a handful of minutes later, Falk gets that gift. And the reaction by the Blackhawks bench, they panned the bench and they showed up close-ups of Bedard and some others. And they just it was a combination of disgust and disbelief at the same time. They were pissed off and just
rightfully
I'm like,
so.
Oh, that was so. I mean, of the Blackhawks of all teams too, just have those mental images of the Blackhawks pissed off and sad that they're now losing a game they had well in hand just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, it was a beaut. I thought there was some moments the Blues did not play well in the first two periods, but holy shit, did they lay it on in that third period? 22-2 were the shots. They came out. I don't know what Bannister said in intermission, but oh my God, they came out determined to at least get close in that game and then to pull it off late. And then not even, and I know that Chicago isn't going anywhere. They're going to be in the NHL cellar all year, but to not even allow them to get a point, to not even win that in overtime.
Yep.
That was the most impressive. I was like, there's no, I literally was on a, this was, sorry for listening, buddy. I have a friend who, his family, they all have RSV right now, which is awful. And well, not right now. It was at the time. So he's all down and depressed. And he's like, I'm watching this game. Blues are losing. They can't even make me excited. 5-2. In this, 10-minute phone call, the Blues take a 6-5 lead. and I'm like, tell me you're still watching this game. And he's like, why? And I'm like, the Blues just took a 6-5 lead. He's like, no fucking way. Like, unbelievable. You did not see that coming.
5 goals in a 10-shot span for the Blues, including consecutive shots on the first 3 goals they scored in the third period. And this came after Chicago had a 4-2 lead going into the third. They scored first. They went 5. So, I mean, any momentum the Blues may have had in the locker room coming up, Chicago scores first. 5-2 now. And you're thinking this game's over. You know, this is done. Even Chicago's as bad as they are, it's a 3-goal lead. There's like 13, 14 minutes to go. I mean, we're gonna. I mean, that's it. This is it's not, you know, the Wednesday night wonder, the comeback against Toronto. It's not that, but it's, you know, it's 3 goals. That's substantial. In one period, it's 5 straight goals. So
well, and that's not even mentioning how deflating that shorthanded goal was to open the period, because they had chances. Like the power play looked really good, and I even thought, holy shit, they're going to score on this and make it 4-3, and they're going to get close. But then they give up the shorthanded goal, and it was just. And again, we talked about it already, but not a very good shorthanded goal for either Binnington or Kyrou. And it was just, God, come on. And they still pulled it out. It's crazy.
St. Louis is now 12-2-2 in its past 16 games against Chicago, dating back to April 3rd, 2019, and 7-1-1 on home ice the past 8 games. So, and according to some fans, this is no longer a rivalry due to the lopsidedness of the results.
You know, that's probably what Red Wings fans said about us back in the day.
What I was referencing, more or less, was that back when the Blues hated the Red Wings and they were in the Central and the Blues couldn't beat them in the regular season, couldn't get past them in the playoffs, even though there were some fantastic knockdown, drag-out games, Blues couldn't get past them. And Red Wings fans were saying, it's not a rivalry until you're winning, you know, close to half these games. And, you know, that pissed me off, but there was something to that. You know, I can understand why they may not think it's a rivalry because they beat us most of the time.
Their rivalry was Dallas and Colorado. It wasn't St. Louis, because we faced them in the playoffs and it wasn't even a contest half the time.
Detroit, Colorado, their rival was Colorado. Their rival was
Detroit, Colorado,
Dallas.
And Dallas. Detroit, Colorado, Detroit, Dallas was more what they were concerned about. Vancouver too. Yeah.
So,
but yeah, they never. I remember talking to Red Wings fans. We had a Red Wings podcast on the show early
Let's
on.
Go Wings.
Let's Go Wings, yeah. And I remember them saying, like, yeah, sorry, we never really considered St. Louis a rival. And it's like,
That hurts.
You.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
that makes you
you're
hate
the
them even
team
more.
We hate the most.
Yeah, it makes you hate them even more because you're like, fuck you guys. You don't even like you can't recognize great. I mean, I get it. I get it. It's like, I don't know what team can't beat the Blues, right? Oh, the Hawks, I guess. What team can't beat the Blues is not an established. Would that rivalry ever go away, Blues and Hawks? I mean, it can't. I mean,
not fully. I think it's still there.
It's always there.
Yeah,
I guess.
I mean, it's gone down in recent years. There was a couple of years there with Taves and Kane and all that. I think it got, fairly significant again, especially when the Blues beat them in the playoffs, and that was incredible.
Shit, I mean, Duncan Keith and Brent Seabrook and Wakey Bacchus.
Yep.
I mean, that's to me, that was getting close to how it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
But then,
yeah.
Troy
Well, we played them
Brouwer
we played them 2 out of 3 years in the playoffs. Lost to them the first time around, then exercised the demons the second time, which was like fan-fucking-tastic. So,
yep.
Well, talking about okay, first of all, I want to say Blues 2 for 4 on the power play in this game.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. But speaking of teams that should probably hate the Blues, this next game, Dallas. They have got to hate St. Louis, right?
They do.
I mean,
we've had their number for the last 8 years.
If you're the Stars and you don't hate a Stars fan, and you don't hate the Blues, what are you paying attention to?
11 o'clock. Do you know where your children are?
I told you last night. No.
Yeah, I remember we had Taylor Baird from Defending Big D on the show when I did my Behind Enemy Lines the year the Blues won the Cup. And I remember her just trashing the Blues on this show. And I had to literally say, like, that your listeners right now are Blues fans, right? Like, I could tell she had some real animosity towards the Blues.
Do you know, as a Blues fan, though, I would eat that shit up.
Oh, it was great.
I
loved it.
getting under other fans' skin and pissing them off because they can't beat you most of the time or in the playoffs, big games. It's like that is just like, yes, give me more of that. I'll eat that up. And the Baked Beaver says, now Chicago St. Louis will always kind of be a rivalry no matter what the sport. I agree. But you have to agree it has lost some luster because the Hawks have not been competitive in quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you still got the Cubs and Cardinals. That'll always be a rivalry.
Sure.
Bears and Rams was never anything.
That's a shame.
The City didn't even play Chicago this year, right?
No, we did, and we did not do well.
They lost.
Oh, that's right. I remember that game.
Lost to them.
It was an afternoon game.
Yeah, so there are 2 games within like a week and a half, and one was U.S. Open Cup and one was MLS, and we lost them both.
That's right. I remember that now.
Sheridan Shaqiri, former Liverpool.
Justin Scott says Dallas Twitter was hilarious after this loss. How could you lose to these bums frauds? Talking about the Blues 2-1 win the other night. You know what? Those bums frauds fucking had the Stars number for quite a while.
Yeah, I said I was at that game before Christmas that they beat them in overtime, and I thought the Blues deserved that win. I thought a couple bad goals, not calling out Binnington, but I thought defense just very, very small lapses that led to goals against. And I thought, man, overall, the Blues deserve the win in regulation here. Glad they were able to get it last night.
Yep. So Blues win 2-1 versus the Stars. We talked prior to this game about the decision to go with Hofer over Binnington. And I was with Jeff on this. I had no idea why Hofer was starting this game. Division rival at home after a few days off. I know Binnington didn't have a great game his last start, and Hofer had a great game in his. But Binnington is your number 1 goalie, and this is a division game. It's a home game. Binnington starts this game every single time without question for me. With that said, though, Hofer played fantastic. So kudos on the questionable decision to start him. It worked
I'm
out
glad
great.
I was wrong.
Yeah,
and that's
you're
what
not
I always
wrong.
tell people.
You're not wrong,
right?
But
that's
Bannister.
What I tell people this all the time. Whenever when they reunited the first line, and I was all against it. This is clearly not worked. They've tried this line before. It's not working. And then they go out and have a huge game and another huge game. I've said it, I love when I am proven incorrect, when I'm negative about something about my team. And again, maybe it's not incorrect. Maybe that's not the right word. But when basically I say something negative and then I'm incorrect at the end result. I love that. I couldn't love it more. So, yeah, I was not happy with this decision. I thought, what the hell are you doing? You need your starter against, especially when it's number one team in the Central. What the fuck are you thinking, starting a rookie goalie against these guys? Guess what? He played fantastic. So, you know what? Drew Bannister, great fucking call, because that's not what I would have done.
Yeah, and if we were playing Dallas next week, I guess you go back with Hofer, right? Because I mean, when next time he played Dallas, because he played played so well against Dallas. So I mean, maybe he's got their number. I don't know, but Bennington is still the number one goalie on this team. He will be. People think that he's losing the number one job. I don't understand that whatsoever. But you know, Hofer has now played 2 great games in a row against 2 very good teams and stopped 75 out of 77 shots in those 2 games. So
the words goalie controversy will always be a thing, no matter what. You could have Martin Brodeur in his prime playing in St. Louis, and Chris Terreri could come in and stop 29 or 30, and fans will say, oh, it's a goalie controversy, because that's just how the city works.
Well, we just mentioned that this town, the vocal minority, sounds stupid when it comes to goaltending. That's just how it is. You can't tell them otherwise either. It's kind of funny.
Bill, did you appreciate my Chris Terreri reference?
I did, and I forget at this point if they even were contemporaries. Right organization, but to me, Terreri was always Sean Burke's contemporary, but he may have still been there when
I
Brodeur
think he
came
was
around
there
in
for at
92.
least one season.
You're probably right. Burke was gone by then, but
sorry, folks, you don't care about New Jersey Devils goalie history.
In the
Wyshynski's listening, so he
the
cares.
early 90s,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
No, I didn't get a chance to chime into you guys about your thoughts on the goaltending thing, right? After seeing Bennington play against Chicago, and again, not the first 2 goals, but everything after that, I thought he played small. And Hofer was coming off the good game, and Bannister said it, right? It's you're going into 3 games in 4 nights. You're going to be using this guy in at least one of these games. So why not this game?
Yeah. Well, okay. If we're the 3 games in 4 nights, and if you tack Chicago in there, which is a few days prior, so really you could have started Hofer against Chicago before the break and given Bennington like 5 days off. And then he could have played against Dallas and Colorado 2 out of 3 nights, and then Hofer could have come back and against Pittsburgh on Saturday, because Pittsburgh's not playing particularly well this season. So I think that would have been the logical way to go, the safe way to go with your goaltending. Maybe now with the
maybe you've got a guy who's reading the room, right? And you're not planning it out.
No, and I agree.
Which is how the Blues are always, have always felt this year, right? And
that's fine.
And to me, go back to the West Coast road trip where they fucked up the rotation, right? That was what I was saying, right? They go Hofer, same kind of thing. 3 games, 4 nights. Go Hofer the first night, and you're like, that just screwed everything up. And look, they don't know how to play anymore. But
I just want to real quick, first of all, say I was right about something with goaltending. Chris Drury backed up Martin Brodeur for 3 seasons.
Oh, wow.
Brodeur's rookie season, they actually split start.
Yeah.
Martin Brodeur, 47 starts. Chris Drury, 44 starts. The year before that, their goaltending duo, oh boy, Craig
Peterson.
Billington and
Craig
Chris
Billington.
Drury.
Woo!
Not a good
Yeah.
year for the New Jersey Devils.
What about Billington?
What about Billington?
So, with the way Hofer has looked recently, very good, and with how Bennington tends to play overall, we've liked Bennington's play. You have to like our goaltending for the foreseeable future, I think. So Hofer is under contract through next season, and interestingly enough, that's when Bennington's contract goes from a full no trade clause to a modified no trade clause. He can submit an 18-team no trade list in 24-25 and a 14-team no trade list in 25-26 and a 10-team no trade list in 26-27. Obviously, this is a long way away from now, and a lot can happen between now and then, especially with how fickle goaltending can be in the NHL from year to year. But it's still interesting to look ahead and think about stuff, especially when your backup is playing recently very, very well against 2 very good teams.
I would love to see Jordan Binnington, one of the, what is it at this point now, 4 players from the Cup team that still belong here. And a couple of those guys have come back. But yeah, I would love to see Binnington or somebody from that team. Maybe it's Parayko, as long as he keeps playing this way. Retire here, stay their whole career in St. Louis. I would love to see that because we see that with other teams all the time. Montreal, clearly, Bill, comes to mind, just because some of the ridiculous teams they had in the 60s and 70s. But I want to see that so bad. Is that going to be Binnington? Probably not. Odds nowadays are that's not going to happen.
It's hard.
But I would love it. And even if that means he takes a backup role to Hofer and he's just like, I just want to stay in St. Louis. I'm happy to back up. It's fine. Who knows? But man, I think he's here for the long haul. I just don't know if he makes it all the way through his contract. Because I think that if he does want to stay here too, I think there's some things about these no trade clause, modified no trade clauses. They could easily go, okay, our 18-team no trade list, the teams we will be traded to. Let's just list all the teams that we know they're not going to need a goalie. So maybe at that time there's a franchise stud, let's say Shesterkin in New York. Let's make sure we'll put the Rangers on that list because we know the Rangers won't want to acquire Binnington.
I mean, I like I said, there's a lot that can happen between now and then. With goaltending is so up and down from year to year across the board in the NHL. Goalies who are consistently good year in and year out are Hall of Famers, more or less. So it's like, I mean, it's hard for a goalie to be really good every year. So we'll see what happens. I just think it's interesting to have a backup who's playing well. That for every team, right? Your backup's playing really well. Whoa, what do you got here? You got either trade chip or you got a goalie controversy on who is going to take over the number 1 job.
I really feel like the Blues are gonna. I think they're all in on Hofer. I really do. I think.
Well,
I think it's the same way with Jake Allen. They were all in on Allen, and it really, literally was not until it was like we have a guy that we have to play over him.
Hey,
I feel like they're the same way with Hofer.
Whoever gives us the best chance to win, put him in that.
I'm with you.
I love Bennington. I love the way he plays. Love his swagger. I like it. And I'm hoping that like he's here for the long haul. It'd be cool. But at the end of the day, just give me the guy who's gonna give us the best chance to win.
How many times have we said we look at other teams that came in 67 and even teams that have come in after, like Vancouver and New Jersey, they all have had franchise goalies at least once. Blues have never had a franchise goalie. It's just never happened.
We've had really good goaltending, but over the short term each time.
Yeah.
It's
right.
never been.
So it would be awesome for
Joseph
us.
was probably the longest. Well, he's got the most games played, right? Or is it Liut?
I think Liut's got more games played.
Okay.
Liut's the closest thing to a franchise goalie we've had, right?
And that's embarrassing to me because he wasn't here that long in the longevity of the sport. Right. So for me, like to be able to have a guy like Binnington who could be here 8, 9, 10 years, as long as he's playing okay and he's not, Jason Bakashua out there, I'd love to keep him and keep racking up those wins and get all those. Because right now, Bill, I don't know if you agree, but like I know Kurt and I have said, greatest goalie in Blues history, Brian Elliott. As much as we loved Brian Elliott, that's a little embarrassing.
5 seasons he was here, I think.
Yep.
Well, that and he wasn't even the starter half the time.
Yeah, I know, right? So
took the team to the Western Conference Finals and still wouldn't be given the #1 job. Right?
That whole era. I when I think back on the era with goaltending, I mean, it was fun to watch Elliott play, a lot of blast, but it was so frustrating for me as a fan because I'm like, he's the guy. I mean, he's why? I don't know. They just could not commit to him. Anyway, so Greg Wyshynski, who has never been shy about voicing his Bennington hate.
He hates Binions.
He hates Binions.
That sounds like something you like, like a growth on your ass. Yeah, sorry, I can't come tonight. I got a bad Binion.
He was compelled to point out the differences in Hofer and Binnington. So obviously, Hofer has had a huge stats bump after the last 2 games. He's played 13 games, so you have 2 games back to back. Fantastic stats. It's gonna, smaller sample size is gonna bump your stats up, and so of course he chooses now to share after Binnington's game against Chicago and Hofer's 2 games. So he tweets this. He goes, "Big game from Joel Hofer last night for the St. Louis Blues against the Dallas Stars. He should probably play more of them," and that's all he did. And so he's just, it's like a barb out there for just taking a shot at Binnington, which he likes to do. And I think, so we with the show account said, Binnington is 5-2 lifetime versus the Devils, .918 save percentage, .244 goals against average, including a 1-0 win versus New Jersey earlier this season, stopping 33-34, and 2-0 last season versus New Jersey, posting a .933 save percentage and a 2.50 goals against average. So Wyshynski should probably find a new team to root for if they're losing to Binner, if that is the logic he's going with. That if someone's not playing well, change gears, right? So I thought that was kind of funny.
That's
so
him, man. I've blocked him. I don't even follow him anymore. He's just such a fucking troll. It's crazy to me that we have trolls in the media, and he is one of them.
Oh, he's a huge troll.
I used to love him. I used to think he was great.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But I can't fucking stand his antics anymore.
Puck Daddy used to deliver all the hockey news I ever needed.
Me too.
And when he went to ESPN, right, great career move for him. I'm sure it's paying very, very well, a lot better than Yahoo. That void, I don't know, his stuff's okay, but definitely, he's gone full all in on the trolling. Didn't he come to the there was a watch party here that Game Time threw, and he showed up in his Stevens Devils jersey.
Yep.
Yeah.
Huge troll. More of that girl just sent a text saying that here's how we look live on Instagram. Have you seen it? It's
probably not good.
No, it's the only person you can see is Bill, because it's cropped vertically down the middle. It doesn't resize it and shrink it. It just crops it right down the middle because of the vertical display on Instagram on a phone.
So
I'm I'm seeing it.
I'm gonna bring Sheldon and Fritz in here because they show up on my Instagram posts more than anything else. So we might get some additional followers if they're like, "Oh, it's those dogs."
I'm gonna sit like this so that way you can see me on Instagram. Oh, there we go. Yep. I look great.
So anyway, the game against Dallas, great game from start to finish for the Blues. This was a fun game to watch. This was a good hockey game to watch. And specifically for the Blues, the goal that I liked a lot was Scandella's goal. Just a clinic on puck possession, moving the puck quickly and efficiently off his zone, and more importantly, the players weren't standing still. Everybody in the ice was moving, cycling, creating lanes, getting open. It was beautiful. And the criticism we had of this team at times this season was standing around, not doing the extra work when they don't have the puck. This goal, this was a beautiful. I don't know how you defend this. This is like impossible to defend. So many shooting, and the goal was scored. A guy crossing in front. Screen was created. And the passing was just fantastic up high. I was impressed. It was nice.
Yeah. Great retention of the puck. Marco Scandella starts out the play, rushing down the left-hand boards, goes behind the net, goes all the way out to the neutral zone, and picks a pass coming back in. Great screen by Jake Neighbors, and beautiful goal.
I am not I don't talk to Marco Scandella, but I can tell in his play he is so much more confident out there with Perunovic than opposed to Tyler Tucker. And I'm fine with them playing Tucker. If they want him to get him minutes and fine. Don't play him with Scandella. You can't. Those two together are awful. They don't read each other. They're both slow. It's just not a good pairing. With Perunovic, this is the third pairing the Blues need. Scandella feels much more confident because I think he knows Perunovic has speed and can get back if he needs to. And again, I've said this before, it lets him be the anchor on that pairing. It's Perunovic, go do crazy shit. I'm going to stand at the blue line when we have the puck. And if I have to rip it, I'll rip it. If I have to pass it behind the net, I'll pass it behind the net. Like, it's just, it provides him more confidence to play the way that we think he can. And somebody who has said Marco Scandella should be a healthy scratch every game, I don't think that anymore. When he plays with Perunovic, I like the way they play together. Sure, they'll have some games where maybe they don't look as good or they'll be out there for 2 goals against because they're the third pairing. But overall, I like his game with Perunovic. And he looks so ready to receive the puck and do something with it, as opposed to, I just got to get rid of this because Tyler and I are too slow if we turn it over. So I love it.
Scandella had a goal and was +2. Perunovic had 2 assists and was a +1. This may have been Perunovic's best overall game
I agree.
in the NHL. He had a very good game. Some people were saying that he was the best player on the ice. That's Hofer for me. Not even close. Hofer got the #1 star, rightfully so. Perunovic did get a star too. Was it number 3? What did he get? Number 3?
I think he got the 2nd star.
He why is it not showing it on? I hate the NHL changes things around.
Yeah, their site is awful.
A recap, shots on goal. I don't see it anywhere.
I thought there were a couple Blues that had.
Perunovic was number 3. Scandella number 2, and Hofer #1.
Okay.
I thought Dallas's goalie should have gotten a star, maybe.
Wedgwood was fucking ridiculous.
It was really good.
That's was the power play sequence where he made like 4 saves within 6 seconds and didn't have his stick for 2 of them.
Yeah,
my God,
right before Robertson scored too. That whole power play penalty kill for them was just
they had a full 5-on-3. The Blues did. And I thought, man, that play, like you mentioned it, it actually reminded me of, I don't know if anybody remembers this game as well as I do, one of my favorite games of all time, 2001 Blues Stars, Game 4, Blues swept them. They scored a goal late, Chris Pronger, where there was a goal mouth scramble with Turgeon and Drake and Young, and they're just, going crazy. Darian Hatcher's in there. Ed Belfour is just swimming through the crease, he's stopping everything he can. Finally, Turgeon has a presence of mind to send it back, and then Pronger just roofs this shot. And Belfour's literally diving across.
I
trying
know
to
the
make
goal.
the
I remember the
save.
goal. I remember the goal.
And this is exactly what I thought. Like, there was a goal mouth scramble. Wedgwood makes like 3 saves, and then they finally had the presence of mind. I think it was Hayes. I could be wrong. Finally has the presence of mind, get it out of the scramble, get it to the point, and just have one of the guys fire it. And that's what Parayko did. He stepped in, fired. Wedgwood literally jumps across the crease and makes the save with his chest. And it was just, oh my God. And then, like you said, Robertson comes down and scores right after.
Yeah.
And that was the moment for me where I was like, God damn it, they're going to lose this game.
Yeah.
Dallas is going to come back.
I thought it showed. I thought that. I mean, yeah. Obviously, I think the killing off that 5-on-3 and then scoring right after on a break. On that play that actually was a very poor play by Falk because the defense was going for a change.
Yes.
And he doesn't get the puck in deep, and it's turned over the blue line, the Stars blue line, and they quickly go back the other way. And the defenseman coming off the bench who was that? Fred, who it was, but couldn't catch up. Couldn't catch up.
I think.
Was it Brunovich? Couldn't catch up, and it was just like that. It was essentially a breakaway for Robertson, and he buried it.
Well,
and
and Krug did the right thing. Krug got rid of the puck, sent it to Falk.
Yeah,
Falk had to
went
get
for a
that
change.
deep.
He had to get off. He'd gone for a while, and
Falk had
has
to get off
deep.
too. So
Yeah,
for
and
me, it's like Falk sends it in, goes for a change, no problem. But he couldn't get it deep.
I don't know why Falk was dicking around with it a little bit. He skated in, put on the brakes, went forehand to backhand, and went to flip it into the zone, and it got knocked down right at the blue line. And I'm like, why not just get across the red line and fire it in? Why are you? I hated that. Hindsight being 2020, I'm sure this play happens a million times and nothing happens with it. But that burned them and made it 2-1. And you're like, well, shit, we almost went up 3-0. Now it's 2-1. They got momentum. But kudos to the Blues for holding the fort after this. They didn't let Dallas come at them and tie the game. Dallas did have a good third period, outshot the Blues a lot. But granted, the Blues weren't necessarily trying to score in the third period, trying to hold on to the lead. But the Blues played well, held the fort, didn't give up that tying goal. So kudos to them. And Helfer, again, we mentioned earlier, very good in this game. Very, very good.
The Blues are 15-1-0 in scoring first now, and 15-2-1 when holding the opposition to 3 or fewer goals. So that's impressive. And the Stars' only 2 losses in their past 6 games have come against St. Louis. So again, why Dallas Stars fans should hate the St. Louis Blues.
In the playoff, last 2 times we've been in the playoffs against them. 2 Game 7 victories, and the last one was amazing. Ben getting the puck. He's stoned on the goal line from Bennington. The damn near cross. Cagliano missing a wide open net from 5 feet out.
Yep.
Oh.
Oh
my God.
Joel Hofer, 39 saves. Now that is officially his career high. So we mentioned that twice this round. That tells you how good he's been in the past week. But yeah, I thought overall, third period, Dallas was pressuring. I like the way the Blues played overall. I thought, Hofer did come up big when he had to, but there's really not any major, oh my God, ridiculous save from Hofer to keep this game 2-1. I thought he didn't have to do that.
Well, the save on Ben. The save on Ben.
That
was really good. On the side of the net. When Ben had to play it off his skate, I think, and couldn't one-time it. Gave Hofer that extra second to get over and make that great save.
He one-times that. I think it's a goal.
Probably. Yeah. But that's impossible to one time. So
yeah.
But yeah, that was a great save. But no, I hear you. There was no highlight reel, amazing, oh my God, saves.
Yeah, Justin Scott here. Good. He says it better than I did. He said that's why he has a podcast. The Blues got outshot in the third, but they didn't give up anything in the middle of the ice. Yeah, there again. Talking about this team last year, there would have been 3 or 4 point-blank opportunities in the hash marks for the Dallas Stars in this game. The Blues didn't allow that this game, and they looked great in the third period.
Blues power play since the coaching change. The Blues, before the change on December 12th, was 8.4, second worst in the NHL, 7. And 8.2 was the very worst. So they were right there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
7 for 83. And now after the coaching change, 11th, 18.8%, 4 for 16. So markedly improves since.
You could say it's Bannister, which maybe it is. I'm sure he has plenty of input. But obviously, the thing that I think we need to point to is the thing in passing Doug Armstrong mentioned in his press conference.
Yeah, no big deal.
Hiring Brad Richards as kind of a special assistant to take a look at tape and get back to Steve Ott and Drew Bannister on what he's seen. So clearly that has helped. And I'll say it's not just the goals. You talked about earlier, Kurt, the Blues just kind of standing around a lot. I haven't seen that as much. There's a lot of plays where like you'll see a winger come through the crease to screen the goalie, but then come back out the outside. And then maybe the center like Shen will step into the goal and then he steps out and goes behind the net. So there's a little bit more rotation than we've seen in the past. And just letting the point men get the puck on their tape and then fire it, which we've seen plenty of times. And obviously it's leading to chances and it's leading to goals. So kudos to the Blues on apparently making the right hire and making this a more potent offense.
I'm going to say part of the power play resurgence too. It's not like they're world beaters right now, but 11th in NSL is fine. But probably regressing a little more to the norm, or not regressing, but improving more towards the norm, which, this was not a team that should have been 8.4%. They were a better power play team than that. They were bound to be a little better. So maybe this is just a natural progression for this power play, but whatever the reason, the 11th is fine. I can live with 11th. That's perfectly fine.
Hey, that's better than I put this team. To me, they are a middle of the pack offensive team, so I'd say 16th. So if they're better than that, give me that the rest of the season.
Next,
yeah, I was just gonna say I think the Brad Richards thing is huge on the point of the power play. Brad Richards thing's obviously huge, tough to quantify, but I also think the emphasis on shooting overall, right? Being less selective with shots, shooting more. I think that's one thing we've seen since the change. And then also, unfortunately, sorry for Berube and for any tenured coach. After a while, the voice gets stale and you need somebody new in there.
It's weird how that works. You would think that the fact that you're playing in the NHL for millions of dollars, it's a childhood dream, right? To be playing in the NHL, and you're somehow no longer motivated by your coach to play. You shouldn't need motivation from your coach to play. You should be. I mean, all the motivation you need is the fact that you're fucking playing in the NHL. I mean, that's my God. You think back to when you were a kid, and you're like, look what you're doing now. That's all you got to do. I don't know. It seems so simple to me to be able to say, just enjoy, your time in the NHL because it's short lived.
Well, it's for them. It's a job. You and I look at it as a little different than they do. It's
But Bennington said just the other day, he said, when the team wasn't playing, everyone wasn't pulling their weight. He was like, get the hell out if you're not gonna give it your all, because your time in the NHL is short lived, and we want to make the most of it. So if you're not here to make the most of it, get out. So we can. And I think that's one of the most brilliant things I've ever heard a player say. Not brilliant, but one of the most honest and honestly simple, right? The most simple. It was such a simple idea that he just put into words and said it. And it's like, that's fantastic. And that's something that should be said more often to certain players who may not want to be giving it their all. I mean, most players might only play in the league 5, 6, 7, 8 years. It's like, and some play longer, some play shorter. It's like, make the most of it while you're here. My God. Next up for the Blues, Friday versus the Colorado Avalanche, 7 p.m. And we talked about this earlier. After 2 big wins, this game is super interesting to me. How they play. Will the Blues continue to be the up and down team and fall flat versus the Avalanche, or will they string together 3 impressive wins versus 3 good teams, 4 wins overall? A solid win here would make people raise their eyebrows, I think, at the Blues and say, is this the level we should be expecting from this Blues team now? With wins against Florida, Dallas, Colorado, and the comeback against Chicago. I mean, is this who they are now?
Well, and that's not to mention the big wins we saw them have earlier this year even. Yes, they were inconsistent, but Tampa Bay, Vegas. I mean, all big games.
Yeah, so I think to me, this is the biggest game of the season as far as if we're going to try and label this team as something, or if this team's going to try and get an identity. This is the biggest game of the season to try and make people think, oh, well, this team might be a little better than what the expectations were, or is it just a hot streak? So
let me ask you this: who do you start in goal tomorrow?
Bennington.
Me too. What do you think, Bill?
And then Hofer in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I agree. Bennington's just the numbers against the Avalanche. He's always been good against them.
Oh yeah.
If there's a team he'll raise his game for, it's the Avalanche.
What I don't have his numbers in front of me since the Kadri game.
Yeah.
When he purposely dove on Bennington, which everyone with a brain knows
Bennington.
That. Everyone with a brain knows that.
That series.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. His numbers against Colorado since that game, I think, are really, really good. I think.
He had a big win against them earlier this season.
Yeah, and last
that
season
was that 8-2, 8-3 game.
Yeah. And then so Saturday against Pittsburgh, and then Thursday, January 4th versus the Canucks.
Vancouver.
So yeah, I mean the Pittsburgh game seems like the softy in there, but
which is crazy to think when you look at their lineup. But
I know,
it's
right?
true.
Yeah, I know.
They are not a strong team this year. Vancouver has been damn good. I'm watching them right now. They're losing to Philadelphia 4-1, but still good team.
Rapid fire tidbits from the NHL. We got that 50-year-old Nikolai Khabibulin signs with the Torpedo Nizhny Novgorod of the Continental Hockey League, spelled with a K, because that's what Russians do. He signed on to be the team's 3rd goaltender for the remainder of the season. He has not played in a professional game since November 16th, 2013. While a member of the Chicago Blackhawks, he will be turning 51 next month, and he will always, for me, be remembered for being the guy that gave up Turgeon's goal in Game 7 in overtime.
Yes. Yeah, there's two things I remember him for. That, and I literally had a friend, this would have been... I was in college, I guess, like 06, 07-ish. And they were watching, actually, I think it was 04. So I think I was in high school. Yeah, it was when he was playing for the Lightning. And somebody said, yeah, I was watching this game last night. Man, the Lightning goalie had the weirdest name. And I was like, yeah, how do you think you pronounce that? And he goes, Quabulin? And I'm like, yep. Quabulin. That's correct now. From now on, it is Quabulin. So many times I have said, like, oh yeah, Nikolai Khabibulin, and somebody's like, dude, it's Khabibulin. I'm like, I know. But yeah, so those are the 2 reasons I remember his name so well. But yeah, that's is this like a e-bug thing for them? They say he's the 3rd goalie. So does that mean that maybe that's just kind of their e-bug situation, that they have to actually sign him to a contract? I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see if he gets into a game this year. I don't know, Bill. I guess you don't know that, do you?
No. I don't keep up with the KHL.
Not that you could find out a lot of details about that league anyway. It's
right.
Hard. They don't advertise that too well.
Right. Yeah, about the only goaltending thing in Russia I could comment on is they shouldn't have pulled Tretiak and gone with Michigan in 80.
Yes. It's funny because my streaming service picked up it did pick up some KHL games for a short period. And I was like, oh, nice. I think it lasted about a week. And then I don't know if it was the Russians or what, but it got shut down very quickly.
Well, I think we're about done with this show. You guys got anything you wanted to say in closing?
Are we getting together next week?
We can. Let me. What's the schedule look like? I didn't look at it for next week. No, I did last week. We got.
Well, we've looked at it just a couple minutes ago.
Well,
so they've got
January. Yeah.
Yeah. So Monday is New Year's, and they don't play until Thursday. So we could do Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, let's do Tuesdays. Not well.
We can talk off air.
Bill, what do you think? Tuesday or Wednesday?
I should be available.
Okay.
Cool. Let's make it happen.
Let's Go Blues Radio has been brought to you in part by Rockin' That ID Life. You can contact Dustin by emailing him at dustin@rockinthatidylife@gmail.com and get 10% off and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. And by Realtor Mike Burgoyne. Give Mike a call today at 314-753-4060 for all of your home buying and selling needs. That's 314-753-4060. That will wrap up episode 12 of season 13 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast. Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening. And thanks to those who participated on the YouTube and Facebook and Instagram live chats. We don't have a live chat on Instagram, do we?
Apparently not.
No. So,
but hey, Instagram got a great look at Bill all night.
Yeah, if you watched on Instagram, you got to see Bill the entire show.
Yeah. Next week it will be my Weimaraners in my spot.
We hope you enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. For Jeff Ponder, Bill Day, and Austin Lynch, I'm Kurt Price. Until next time, everyone, fuck Colorado. Let's go Blues.
Fuck Colorado. Let's go Blues. And Happy New Year to all of Blues Nation.
Yes. Fuck Colorado. Let's go Blues. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Happy holidays.
Peace out.
Happy Boxing Day.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.
You thought I was going to say, son of a bitch, didn't you?